Tonight on BBC London, leasehold flats are to be banned by the government as part of a shake-up of the system. But what will that mean for the thousands of Londoners who are currently leaseholders?
I'm angry. I'm really disappointed because I feel like the new legislation should also affect in a positive way those leaseholders who are already sort of trapped, essentially.
We talk through the pros and cons of the changes, also on the programme. Good evening and welcome to the programme. We start tonight on a subject that hundreds of you have contacted us about, and that's being a leaseholder. Many of you have told us how you felt powerless faced with ever-increasing charges and no option to pay or even sell your home. Well, today the government has outlined plans to ban the sale of new leasehold flats and replace it with a new system. It'll be known as Commonhold, which would allow homeowners to own a share of the building and give them greater control. Well, in just a moment, we'll explain what it all means to you. But first, Aisha Baksh has spent the day hearing about leaseholders' problems firsthand.
It's an area of West London undergoing rapid change, with hundreds of new homes being built in high-rise blocks. Kasia bought her one-bedroom flat in Southall under a shared ownership scheme 2 years ago and had hoped it would be value for money.
I think it was one of those schemes, if not the only one, that actually allowed me to jump on a property ladder on that sort of medium income and being a single person as well. And it was meant to be affordable.
As a leaseholder, Kasia pays out for a mortgage and rent, which increases annually in line with inflation. She also pays service charges, which have escalated dramatically from £65 to £200 a month.
They still haven't shown us any invoices. They blame that on various reasons, including previous company under budgeting, different changes within the legislation, this and that. But yeah, until now, we've actually not seen any paperwork to back any of that up.
Kasia and the other leaseholders don't believe their service charges are value for money, and they've been challenging the management agent who have the freehold.
We are paying for maintenance of the block, gardening, cleaning, and a lot of those things are just never taken place, but we're still paying for it. One of the issues that we've been facing is, for example, the external window cleaning. We've been paying, for my block in particular, we've been paying £5,000 per year, and those windows have never been cleaned, and our managing agent has actually admitted to have never done it, but obviously we've paid for that service.
Management agent The First Port Group told the BBC they're working hard to meet customer expectations and rectify any mistakes as soon as possible. And now the government plans to abolish leasehold for new build homes, but existing leaseholders such as Kasia fear they will be left behind.
What we don't want is a two-tier system, if you like, where those left in leasehold houses don't have the rights and powers and protections they need. We've got to switch on many of those reforms that are already in statute to ensure they have that immediate relief. We're absolutely focused on doing that as quickly as possible. Then we've got to make it as easy and simple as possible to convert to Commonhold, make it attractive to do so, and then bring in that ban on new leasehold flats, so the default tenure becomes Commonhold across the system.
There are new developments all over Southall, aren't they? Presumably some of them will benefit from the new legislation.
Yeah, I think those new customers who will be moving into those flats, and flats, as you said, all around Southall will benefit, but it's not going to be us.
How do you feel about that?
I'm angry. I'm really disappointed because I feel like the new legislation should also affect in a positive way those leaseholders who are already sort of trapped, essentially.
Aisha Baksh, BBC London.
Well, I'm joined now by our work and money correspondent, Megan Owen, who can explain what has been unveiled. Megan, tell us more.
Yeah, well, this is going to have a huge impact on the capital. There are 1.3 million leasehold properties in London, proportionately one of the highest in the UK. Now, the capital's large number of apartment blocks helps to tackle the housing shortage. But what does this system actually involve? Well, a freeholder owns the building and a leaseholder buys the right to occupy their home for a fixed amount of time. Now, Londoners living in these homes have long complained about a lack of control over communal communal costs and service charges. But now the government wants a total overhaul by moving to what's known as a Commonhold system. This will involve banning new blocks of leasehold flats, and people can take ownership of their buildings. Now, the government believes this would end unfair practices and unreasonable costs at the hands of landlords. It's a step in the right direction, according to the National Leasehold campaign.
We're really pleased about today's announcement about Commonhold. That's great, but fixing things for the future doesn't necessarily fix things for the past. So there is a lot of leaseholders that are worried today that they're going to be trapped in a two-tier system. But I don't believe that that's going to be the case. I think that government need to really address existing leasehold issues through the Leasehold and Freehold Reform Act.
Well, there has been opposition from the association which represents freeholders. They say that leasehold is the most effective system for large buildings.
It's very hard for all of the residents to get together and effectively manage a building and decide on a unilateral course of action for management of that building. So that's where freeholders come into play, because what they do is they are there for the long-term stewardship of the building, and so they will manage the building in everyone's best interests. What freeholders also bring is professional expertise in the area of insurance and especially sort of with building safety and service charge, etc.
Now, Commonhold has been around for a while. It was actually introduced to England and Wales in 2002. But despite being popular in other parts of the world, such as Australia, New Zealand and Europe, it's never really caught on here. Some campaign groups say that that's because it's seen as less profitable for house builders than leasehold. But what we're seeing now is the biggest push from a government towards Commonhold, with further changes set to be outlined for current leaseholders.
Thanks very much indeed. Well, don't forget to get in touch with your thoughts on this if you've been affected by being a leaseholder. The address on the screen now, hello@bbclondon@bbc.co.uk.